Nicole Petrangelo. I'm a project management consultant at Wellington, so I work more on the technology side. I'm based in Denver, Colorado, and yeah, really excited to be here today.
Amazing, thank you. So thank you everybody for joining. We thought it was important just to tell you a little bit about ourselves and our company, and then we'll get right into the content, talking about project management and looking at some of the emerging technology that's out there that's going to help you to transition into this kind of role. So first of all, let's talk about Wellington. So as I said, I'm the Director of Consulting Services, and at Wellington, we are a project management consultancy firm. We're based out of Atlanta with offices in England, where I am. I'm just outside of London, Spain, in Ireland, and also in India. We work across three streams of work. So we are a technology house. So you'll notice from our backgrounds, we are a Microsoft house, and that's what Nicole is going to be teaching you about a little bit later. So we design and deploy project management technology in the Microsoft stack for our clients. We also do pure consultancy. So we look after lots of different types of project management offices who are the ones who are kind of centralizing the ways of working. And that can look like doing assessments to understand their level of maturity. It can look like defining what that team should look like and the frameworks that they're using. And then we also have our Wellington Training Academy. Our academy is a really important part of what we do. We have lots of different project management focused training that has been accredited by the Association for Project Management here in the UK, which is the chartered body for our profession. We also are aligned to the Project Management Institute, so anybody joining can get their PMI PDU, so professional development units with the PMI, as well as the IPMA, the International Project Management Association. So we're really proud that our training is holistic and works across all ways of working. And we wrap all of that up with our Wellington community. This is one of the types of events that we do. We run these kinds of events every single month, 2 or 3 a month, that are really looking at the emerging practices and some things that you can dive into. So do join us, join our community, and you'll be able to attend lots of events like this one that are a little bit more focused on specific topics. So that's enough about us. You can ask us and we'll chat more about anything you're interested in. But today we're going to explore a little bit about project management and identify the existing project management skills that you already have. Yes, you already have them. So how you can kind of transition your current skills into project management. We'll uncover how Microsoft makes it easy for you to get into that world, and we'll learn how you can get started on your project management journey. So let's go back to basics. First of all, what is a project? A project is a temporary endeavor that are designed to bring new products, services, or a specific result to the forefront. So effectively, it's a set of structured tasks, activities, and deliverables that are executed and coordinated to get a desired outcome. When we look at organizations and business as a whole, we will often see projects being compared to business as usual or operational work. So we have just a little bit of a comparison. So, a project is unique. We're only doing it one time. Whereas business as usual operations tend to be more repetitive. They're more on an ongoing basis. So we might be doing them every week or every month or even every year. Whereas projects have to have a defined start and finish. We have some projects that go on forever and never seem to end, but technically they are not projects. Projects also involve uncertainty because we are usually changing something, whether that is a process, a tool, a template, or even the way that we work as human beings. So they naturally involve uncertainty, whereas that business as usual work tends to be based on experience. We've done it before, we know what we're doing, there shouldn't be any surprises here. Because of that experience, business as usual is usually completed with established resources. It belongs to that person or that team to get that job done on a regular basis. Whereas projects might bring people from all kinds of areas of the business. We might have people, from commercial teams, from audit teams, from finance teams, procurement teams, and even customer-facing teams. So it's a much more dynamic environment that we live in when it comes to project management. So project management, if we look at it as a term, is the application of some process, some methodologies, knowledge, skills, and experience to achieve the objective, to achieve that outcome, whether that is a new process or it's more efficiencies or making people happier, which is also a legitimate part of what we do. If we break project management down a little bit further, it's about these key things. First of all, understanding why a project is needed. We can't just keep changing things for no reason because somebody decided it was a good idea. We call those pet projects. We don't want any of those. There has to be a reason why, a challenge or an opportunity that we're trying to address with a specific change. So project management is about capturing the requirements, the need, we call that the scope of work. Estimating how many people, how much money, how many tools are we going to need, and how long is it likely to take. It's also about developing and implementing a plan for the project. So making sure that we understand when is everything supposed to be happening. And a really important part of project management is about leading and motivating the team. Don't forget, we have a team that's come together temporarily from lots of different areas of the business. So it's important that if we are going to be a successful project manager, that we're able to manage that team through its own life cycle and keep people motivated, particularly with the longer type projects. Throughout, we're also going to be managing ambiguity. So risks to us, things that could stop us along the way, problems that occur and changes that people request. That's going to happen all the time. And to do that, we need to monitor progress. We need to monitor and talk about, this is where we're up to. These are the risks that we are currently tracking or looking at. These are the changes that we'd like to make to the plan or the end result. And part of that is about managing budget. Most projects will have a budget assigned to them. So as project manager, we need to make sure that we understand how much of that budget is capital money, how much of that budget is people, and then how much of it is something else. And we must be managing that constantly. So communication is a really important part of project management, with not just the project team, but with anybody who's interested in the project, anybody who has a vested interest. We need to make sure that we are communicating with them in a regular fashion and in an appropriate fashion. And we also want to close our projects in a controlled way when it's appropriate. Not all projects should get to the end. That's okay, as long as we understand why. So to do project management, we usually have a suite of templates available to us, templates and tools that are going to help us to put some discipline behind each of these really important activities. If you are looking to get into project management, then one of the key things that you're going to see when you start researching is that sometimes projects fail. And when we look at our research, we can see that there are a number of reasons that people tell us that their projects have failed. And it's really important that we try to avoid all of these. So one of the biggest problems in organizations is we're trying to do too much. We all have this kind of human condition called optimism bias, where we believe we can achieve more than we can in the time that we have. That manifests itself in the project world as we're trying to do too many projects at the same time, because we feel like it's okay, I can get it done, it can be a side of a desk activity. So we need to make sure that as project managers, we are able to take a step back and understand when we are trying to do too much and how to deal with that. Uncontrolled change to scope. We call this scope creep. This is where we've decided up front what we're going to change, and then over time, people ask for more things. It's a naturally occurring thing, so we need to make sure that we manage that. As well, when we have not a clear defined idea of what we want to actually change, that's where we start to see scope creep, because the more we find out, the more we want, and we don't have anything to kind of revert back to say, actually, this is what we agreed in the first instance. Resourcing, most organizations are resource poor. They will always say that they don't have enough resource, enough people, and partly that's because they're trying to do too many things. So we need to be able to manage these difficult conversations. We also see that we're not great at estimating. We're kind of saying, we think it's going to take this long, but then real world life gets in the way and things inevitably will take longer. So the planning piece is going to be super important when we come to actually delivering our projects and doing successful project management. Teamwork. one of the key things that has grown over the last years, in recent years, has been the importance of the softer skills of project management. So it isn't just about the mechanics of project management anymore. It's also about motivating that team, getting the team to really take responsibility for their tasks, their actions, and the things that maybe don't go quite as to plan as we wanted them to. We also see a lot of what we call watermelon reporting, where everybody is telling us that the project is green, everything's really hunky-dory, green is go, everything's really good. And it's only when we kind of do a deep dive into the project that we see that it's actually bright red, hence watermelon reporting. So really making sure that we are keeping an eye on how people are reporting on their projects is really important. So again, that having that really good relationship with the project team is going to be really important, because they're going to tell us when things maybe don't feel right. So in terms of making projects successful, there are some things that we can do as project managers, and there are some things that the organization can do to support us in that role. So for example, using a defined approach. That is something that we can do. We can go out, and there are lots of different methodologies out there that give us a structured approach to delivering projects. And when we break this down to the nuts and bolts, it's about making sure we're writing the right things down at the right time. The things that we can do is be really clear about what the changes that we've been asked to implement, and maintaining a focus on that why, the reason why we want to deliver these projects. Having really clear roles and responsibilities within the team, so everybody understands where their responsibility starts and where their responsibility finishes, and they're handing off work to somebody else. We don't spend enough time in planning. We want to get into the nice sexy stuff, which is all the delivery and building things, but we actually need to spend more time planning and making sure that we are confident that what we are planning is the correct approach. And then maintaining that progress cycle. So, communicating, making sure that we're telling people the truth about the status of our project, and understanding that if there is a problem, it's about getting the right help, the right people in the room. And so that kind of consistent and honest reporting. And then the really important thing is what we call lessons learned, or knowledge management, is managing the knowledge that we get from those projects. We always say a course doesn't make you a project manager. It's the experience and the skill that makes you a project manager. The training gives you the toolbox, but you really need to kind of get your hands dirty and get in there. So one of the things that we learn along the way is the lessons. What went wrong? What could we have done differently? What should we do again every single time because it made the project go really well? And then applying those lessons to the next project so that we're continually improving, both for ourselves, but for our organizations. There are also things that your organization can do to support you. And these are really good questions if you're moving into project management, maybe for the first time, to kind of ask in the interview process, do we have a defined approval and governance structure? Do we know how we're going to govern and make sure that our projects are going well? Do we have a function, a project management office function, that's driving that best practice, that's there to support me if I need help or guidance or facilitation? Do they provide some training for those that run projects? Not everybody has to be a professional project manager, but it really helps if they at least understand the impact of being involved in projects. And also, what is the prioritization like? We already know as an industry that we try to do too much all the time. So prioritization, how do we decide, what goes first, second, and third? Is it who shouts loudest, which is not really an effective tool? Or is there a way for us to have that grown-up conversation around, are we trying to do too many things? So really keeping an eye on, okay, the stuff on the left I can do. So are my skills honed in terms of being able to work in this way? And there are things that my organization can do that is going to support me. So again, things to ask during your interview process. Everything in project management fits together. So when we talked about project, we looked at that why. What is the reason that we're actually delivering this particular project? So in our organizations, there will be a strategy, an idea of where we want our organization to be in 2, 5, 10 years time, maybe. So we really want to look at what is that objective and what are the things that we need to do to get to that. So if we look at a project, that's the output, that's the tangible thing that we can actually deliver, that somebody can use, that's going to give us a desired outcome. That desired outcome is something that we usually see within business as a cultural change or a behavioral change. That in itself is going to, over time, give us what we call benefits. And then we should hopefully work towards that strategic perspective. And we can see an example here around the output, the desired outcomes, the benefits, and the objective. We're talking the secret sauce is linking it all together, linking the way that we take those challenges and opportunities, our strategic objectives, and we look at what are the things that are going to add benefit to, that we're going to help us to deliver that specific strategy. So here we have an example, and if we work from left to right, we can see the output, which is the project. It's the tangible thing that we're going to deliver. When we look at, in this case, we're looking at fixing a particular piece of highway. So here we have a resurfaced road being part of the project, and also some new signage that's going to go up. So tangible things that we expect people to drive on, to use, to see, to be able to get to wherever their destination might be. Why do we do that? So the desired outcome is that we want faster flowing traffic and we want to see less accidents on that particular stretch of road. The benefits of that are twofold. One, it costs us money every time we have to close a road to fix a particular problem or follow up after an accident. But also from an individual human perspective, that I will feel benefits of that as well. And for me, it might be the time at home with my family, because I can get home quicker, there's less accidents, etc. It's actually the benefit that I'm going to feel. So we need to make sure that when we're looking at our projects, it's not just the monetary benefit, but really also looking at what is the human impact. And that's a really important question, particularly in the world of today in project management, when we're really looking at how do projects impact our communities, etc. If we are then having happier people using that stretch of road, so there's going to be less complaints about noise and standing traffic, and we've saved some money, then that's going to help us as a highways infrastructure organization to have a better economic position. And we can legitimately say, because we can track it, that we have safer roads. So the idea of project management is that we focus on that initial output, but we must never lose sight of the why. What is it that is going to change, that's going to impact both the organization and the humans or the customers or the community? So making sure that we are really looking at that, linking it all together. So power skills. What are power skills in the context of project management? So they used to be called soft skills, but they're finally being realized for the powerhouses that they really are. Project management is often focused on the techniques and tools and the mechanics to manage the programs and the projects, but the human element is what actually separates good project managers from great project managers. So this is where the power skills come in. If we look at the PMI, the Project Management Institute, they talk about power skills being the behaviors that enable people to succeed. And the good news is that you will have already honed most of these during your military career. So you already have a lot of the skills necessary to transition into project management. So first of all, let's look at communication. Considered the most important power skill by far by project management professionals across the global industry. Being able to effectively deliver and receive different types of information in different formats, using different vehicles in various situations, is incredibly important in the working environment. In addition, managing those who are involved and interested in what we're doing, our stakeholders, and their expectations is going to be critical for us to be that driver for that success. When you think back, you've probably had to deliver information before, or even tested how the message got through in volatile and ambiguous situations. So you can already do this. This is a power skill that you already have. Problem solving and conflict management is a core skill required for effective project management and also leadership. Not because all projects are full of problems, but because all projects are responding to a challenge or an opportunity that has already been identified. So inherently, projects bring about change. Change brings ambiguity, complexity, and sometimes people will resist it. So as project managers, it's important to take a step back, survey the landscape, and make that informed decision on the most appropriate next steps. So in many situations, you have probably found yourself where there have been instances where you've had to hone your critical thinking skills to really navigate a tricky or uncertain situation. So another set of skills that you already have. Next is strategic thinking, allowing individuals to navigate the political landscape of an organization whilst being able to focus on the wider picture. This is particularly important for project management professionals, as it's really common to find ourselves emotionally attached to our project, and therefore we end up working in a bubble. So this can introduce risk to the project because we don't see anything external coming at us that might affect what we're trying to achieve. So without a doubt, there's been instances where you've had to consider a wider perspective and adjust accordingly in your military role. Next, we have adaptability, helping organizations to avoid blindly following processes and procedures, providing that scope for, yes, we can assess the situation that's in front of us and we can flex the current ways of working to fit that reality. We call this best fit practice, taking best practice that are tried and tested, but making them fit the reality of the situation. If you're nothing else as military professionals, then you're definitely adaptable. Next, we have discipline and decision making, which are foundations of project management. Fundamentally, it's all about wrapping structure around a potentially volatile process, allowing for informed decisions to be made. Without the ability to instill discipline, consistency, and efficiency, organizations would be in chaos. So your basic training alone has provided you with the skills required to excel at these particular aspects of project management. And lastly, trust, leadership, and motivation are some of the most valuable skills required for project management to be successful. People deliver projects, and keeping the team motivated and on mission will enable projects to deliver sustainable change into organizations and communities. Without the people, the processes simply don't work. So the role of a project manager is to show empathy with their team members, accepting that we're not all having the same experience, but motivating them anyway to keep them going together. So in conclusion, before I hand you over to Nicole, when considering, are my skills right for project management, is absolutely yes. Your skills are already well developed thanks to your military career. The trick is now taking these skills and making them work in the corporate environment to give you the best chance of success. That's where we come in. We provide much more than courses and consulting. We also provide a safe community for you to learn, share, and grow and succeed in the project management industry. We run events every single month to help you to hone some of these skills and disciplines within project management. So I'm going to finish there for that, but then what I am going to do is I am going to share with you some Mentimeter slides. So if you haven't already done this, and I'm going to let Nicole take over in a second, if you want to scan that QR code or go to menti.com and pop that code in, there are just a few questions and we're going to see these kind of growing live as Nicole shares her screen. So do please take a moment to answer those questions, because it really helps us to drive the conversation when we get to the Q&A. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Nicole and hopefully she'll be able to share her screen. Hi, Nicole.
Hello. Thank you so much. Let's give it a go. Okay. So I'm sharing Mentimeter right now, which is a tool that we use for these polls. If you haven't already filled it out, there's a QR code on the screen for each slide where you can input your answer, or feel free to just input it into the chat if that's easier for you. But the first question we wanted to ask is, what is your role currently? So in the responses that we've gotten here, it looks like we do have some people who are already in the project management field. We have a program manager, a project manager, someone who's in IT audit. We have an aspiring project manager. That's awesome to see. So we have a spectrum, but most of you are in or dreaming of becoming a part of the project management world at some point. CEO, okay, that's awesome. Okay, so I'll check in with this as we go throughout the presentation, see if there are any more responses. But the next question was, do you use Microsoft 365 in your organization today? So it looks like everyone who's replied at least has said yes, which is awesome to hear. So you at least have some familiarity with the Microsoft suite of apps. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Okay, a little 50-50 split on this one. So this question, oh, getting more no's. Okay, so do you currently have access to Microsoft 365 Copilot, or will you be getting access soon? If you're not familiar with Copilot, Copilot is Microsoft's new AI agent, so similar to ChatGPT, and we'll do a little demo of Copilot in a bit. But this is nice to see. I'll talk more about how you can get Copilot. Many times it has to do with your organization if they are supporting that for you or not. But we will talk about that later in the demo. And then what tools do you use to support your PMO or manage your project portfolio today? So quite a lot here. MS Projects, we have Calendar, MS Projects again, Excel, SharePoint, Loop, Microsoft Planner. That's awesome to hear. So you'll probably be a little ahead of the curve when we get into the demo portion. So a lot of tools on here. Thank you so much for your feedback on that. Today, we're going to be talking about specifically Microsoft Planner and then also the Microsoft Power Platform. So I will get into my presentation. You guys seeing my screen okay or no?
No,
It's
it's
just
black.
Huh.
It's
Okay.
black.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it was just loading. It's there now for me.
Oh, good. Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, I got a little worried. I just saw blackness. Okay, so today I want to introduce you all to Microsoft Planner. So Microsoft Planner is kind of the new and improved task management solution from Microsoft. So we used to refer to it as Project for the Web. Project for the Web is still around. They're kind of working on the full transition over to Planner for the Web. So what is Planner? Planner is essentially a task and project management tool that is part of the M365 suite. So within it, you can create project plans. You're able to assign tasks to team members. You can collaborate your team or collaborate with your team in a way that's, very simple. Moving on. So at its core, Planner truly is a simple task management solution. You can create projects, input your tasks, you can assign team members to different tasks, input due dates, all that good stuff. But Planner is part of the overall Microsoft Power Platform, which contains many other apps that can help you to further enhance Planner. So Planner in and of itself will only get you so far, especially if you're managing, complex projects with stage gates and you're tracking your risks and issues and you're managing change requests and other things. So here are a few other apps that live within the Power Platform that you may or may not have heard of, but one is Power Apps. So this is an app development tool using no code or low code. So it's pretty easy for someone to get in there who, has maybe minimal coding experience and build some apps for your team. We'll talk a little bit more about Power Apps later. Power Automate is another app that's part of the Power Platform. It's just kind of what it sounds. It's a process automation tool. And then finally, Power BI, which I'm sure you probably have heard about through the grapevine if you haven't already used it. This is a business analytics tool, create some really nice visuals for reporting and dashboards using some data from Planner, from Power Apps, etc. So by extending Planner, There we go. You can manage everything at the project level, even on top of tasks. So, like I mentioned, Planner is kind of your task management solution. And then on top of that, you can manage things like KPIs, RAID logs, budgets, and project financials, your resources, and other things. You can also manage some higher level entities. So, beyond projects, you can manage your programs or your portfolios. And then even on top of that, you can manage OKRs, which are objectives and key results. These tie into your overall project strategy as an organization and also to benefits realization, which is a key piece of project management. So most of my presentation will be focused on Planner itself, but I do want to kind of introduce you to Power Apps, demo capabilities of a Power App so you can better visualize it, how it can actually extend the capabilities of Planner. So at Wellington, we've built our own Power App, which is called the Accelerator Plus. And just to give you a little bit more of an intro into me and what I do, so my job at Wellington is to work with customers to deploy our Power App, the Accelerator Plus, and customize it so it more closely matches their ways of working. Of course, we have best practice project management principles and things, but as you may know, if you've been in the industry for a while, every organization kind of operates a little bit differently. So I work with them to make sure that, they're getting exactly what they need out of the app. So these are some of the features that we can implement to help enhance your usage of Planner and give you some more capabilities that are more geared towards, maybe a PMO. There are some other capabilities. So as mentioned, Power Apps can extend Planner to provide an AI-ready PMO solution. They can, of course, be customized and extended. They're all deployed to your Microsoft 365 tenant. And this particular Power App only requires Microsoft licensing. So one other thing I wanted to talk through before I actually get into the demo portion. So this is not a feature that I can demo yet because it still hasn't been officially released, but I did want to showcase Microsoft's new project management agent. So this is an AI-powered agent. If you guys are in the AI world, you probably have heard of agents. This is kind of the new thing in the AI landscape. So this is an AI-powered agent that's designed to enhance your project planning and executing experience by essentially acting as a virtual project manager within your plans. So it can help you out with maybe more of the administrative tasks so you can focus on, the higher level, more strategic items. So I'm going to attempt to play this. If you wouldn't mind letting me know if you can hear it. This is an intro to the AI agent. So I'm going to hit play. If you can't hear it, let me know.
Introducing the Project Manager, a new agent that automates project and task management. Start by creating a new plan and then selecting Plan with Project Manager. Give the plan a name and share it with the group. Now it's time to set the goal for the project. Think of this like a well-crafted prompt that AI will use to create relevant tasks to complete the project successfully. The more descriptive and specific, the better. You can even add relevant files to the plan to provide key information and context. Then click Generate Tasks, and the project manager instantly creates a task list tailored to this goal. Yes, it's that easy. When the team wants to brainstorm, they can use the Microsoft Whiteboard app right within the plan, allowing them to stay in the flow of work. As sticky notes are added, they can be converted into tasks, which automatically adds and updates the plan. Tasks can also be added manually or through the drop-down menu and assigned to team members or the project manager for completion. You can track the project manager's progress on tasks in the board view. Sometimes the project manager may need more input. When it does, it places the task in the Needs Your Input bucket. By clicking on the task, you can open the loop component and provide feedback. Simply click Regenerate, and the project manager executes the next steps. Multiple team members can also leave feedback on completed tasks. All feedback is captured live within the loop component. After making the necessary updates, click Regenerate, and the project manager takes care of the rest. Changes happen to any project. When they do, the project manager makes adjusting your plan easy. Simply update the goal and click Regenerate Tasks to instantly refresh the project plan. As your project progresses, you can review the project manager's recent activity on the project manager page, ensuring everything stays on track. Want the project manager to handle it all to get work done faster? On the project manager page, just click on the Assign All Tasks to Project Manager button. With the project manager, you're not just managing tasks, you're empowering your team to collaborate and execute more effectively, keeping your projects on course and on time.
All right. So that is the new world of AI when it comes to Microsoft. So now I'm going to actually head into Planner and do a demo with the rest of my time. So let me pull that up. All right. So you are now looking at Microsoft Planner. So in terms of how to access Planner, if you are already using Microsoft 365 and you have Teams, you'll go to Teams, you'll go into your apps, you'll search for Planner, and this is the exact interface that will kind of pop up once you navigate there. So Planner. So we're looking at right now My Plans. So here you can view and access all of the project plans that you have access to, kind of serves as a hub for all of your projects, which is really nice. We can create a new plan from here, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. The next thing I want to share is My Tasks. So here you can view and update all the tasks that are assigned to you from across all of your project plans. So it's kind of your hub specifically. So for me personally, this is where I live every single day, just to make sure I'm holding myself accountable and I can see kind of what's on the docket for the future. You're also able to sort by different fields. So here I'm sorting by due date. So I can see, the most current due date. And as I scroll down, I can see, the least current. So to kind of help me with prioritizing. This isn't my planner, by the way, so I don't have this many overdue tasks in case you were wondering. But yeah, that's My Tasks. My Day. So this is essentially my tasks, but just kind of drilling down a little bit. So we're filtering down here so you can only see and focus on what's due today specifically. So you can see, due date here is today. So it kind of declutters me from all the noise and I can just focus on, what I need to do in this moment. Then a new feature to Planner, which came out maybe a few months ago, is My Portfolios. So this essentially allows you to group multiple projects together and see high-level data points across those projects. So let's click in so I can show you. It is very high level, but I think it is a step forward for Planner. So plan name, here I can see all the plans I've added to the portfolio. I can see who owns that plan. I can see progress of the full project, and this is pulling from the schedule. So, the amount of tasks that you're completing versus the total amount of tasks. Then we can see start and end date for the project. And then finally, we're able to allocate a status to that project at the end. So that is portfolios. I'm expecting, probably more developments here, but like I say, this is a new feature. So we'll kind of see what happens. Now going back to my plans. So I'm going to create a plan from scratch. So here we have the option to either create a basic plan or a premium plan. So basic plan is essentially the free version of Planner. So if you're already a Microsoft 365 user, you're using Teams, you will have access to Planner, but it will be the basic version. So you'll have some limitations. Within basic, you're only able to use grid view and board view. And then with premium, you have a couple more views that you're able to interact with. So timeline view, which is really useful. There's goals as well. And then in premium, this includes Copilot, which, like I mentioned before, is Microsoft's AI assistant. So a lot of additional features come with premium. You can also pull from a template library when creating a new plan. So you have quite a substantial template library down here if that's helpful for you to get started. But for now, we'll create a new premium project. And I've actually already done that. I'm going to head in to that project. We'll let it load up. But as it loads, there we go. You can see I have created a new project from scratch. And now we want to populate this new plan with some tasks. So I'm going to do a bit of a Copilot demo for you now, because Copilot can help you build your project plans. So I'm going to open my Copilot window, and I'm going to ask it to build a plan to plan and execute a project management webinar, which is kind of what we're doing now, so it's applicable. Okay, so it's already provided an outline for the project management webinar, so our most high-level tasks. And now it's working on building my plan. Oh, reached a limit of some kind. Let me try one more time, see if it works. Okay, so I think I've reached some sort of limit on this project. But if I didn't, and I don't want to spend too much time here because I want to show you some other things. But if I were to get rid of some of the data on the back end and there was capacity for this, Copilot would essentially, and you already saw that it provided an outline for what those high-level tasks would be. And then underneath all of those, it would provide, step-by-step actions to actually get those completed. And it would kind of, provide an initial project plan to get you started. And then from there, of course, you could edit things and add in assignees, start and finish dates, things like that, build up your plan from there. But it does give you a good place to start. So if we do have time at the end, I'll try to do a little bit more Copilot demoing to see if we can actually get something generated. But theoretically, it would create you a plan from scratch. So let me go out and go into not a new project, a project that we've already been working on, and I'll show you some other things. So first being views. So up here at the top, you can see we have quite a pretty extensive view selection to choose from. So this is grid view right now. Grid view is kind of your standard list view where you can see, all your tasks and then fields pertaining to those tasks in a list-like format. So that's grid view. We also have board view. So this is more of your Kanban style view. You can see over here on the right-hand side that we're grouping these tasks by bucket right now. So buckets are essentially ways to categorize your tasks into groups. And then you can see right now we're actually grouping those tasks into those buckets so you can really easily see. But you can group by different things too. So let's try progress. This is a pretty common way to utilize board view. So not started, in progress, and completed. And then we can move, drag and drop tasks into different buckets. And there we go. So it's a nice way to drag and drop tasks throughout different categories. Next we have timeline. Let me move my Zoom. There we go. So this is our timeline view. So over here on the left-hand side, we can see that same list of tasks from our plan. We can see assignees. And then here we can see that timeline. So this makes it really easy to see, start and finish dates for all of your tasks. You can see dependencies. So all these arrows represent a dependency. And if I hover over, I can actually see what kind of dependency it is. So we can, denote if it's a finish to start dependency, start to finish, we have those options. This makes it really easy also to adjust your plan. So if you want to, shift things around, create new dependencies, this is a great view to use to make those schedule adjustments. I won't spend too much time on the rest, but here we have charts. So in Planner, you do have some preset charts that you can use, kind of pulls data from your project plan into these visualizations. There's not too much here, but I really like this one in particular, the status breakdown. So you can see how many tasks you have left. And then within that, you can see a status breakdown amongst all of those tasks. I will show you Power BI at the end. So you can see, this basic level of reporting compared to what you can do in Power BI. And as you can see, there are some more views. I'm not going to dwell too much on those for now because I want to make sure I show you a little bit of everything. But a couple more things I'll show you within Planner, the Planner project plan. So we have some other options over here in terms of kind of manipulating the data in our plan or honing in on certain pieces of data. So the first option is filters. So here, of course, we can use filters to, block certain things out and hone in on a certain subset of data. For example, maybe we want to focus on tasks that are late or overdue. So I can set up that filter, can X out, and now I'm only seeing those tasks that are overdue. There's quite a few, but now I know what tasks I need to follow up on, take action on, see what's going on. So it can help me hone in on certain things. Then I can really easily clear that out. And now we're back to my full project plan. Another feature to make use of potentially is conditional coloring. So this allows you to color code tasks based on specific criteria, so you can visually highlight, specific information. So let's say here, I want to focus on all tasks that are assigned to one of my team members, and let's choose Adele. I can pick my color, say this color, I'll click save. And now if I scroll over to that assign to column, I can now see that all of Adele's tasks now have this blue highlight. So again, just kind of helps visually draw your eye to certain pieces of information. And then I can remove that really easily, click save. And again, we're back to our original plan. So that is Planner in a nutshell. I know I only have a few more minutes, so I want to go into the Power App that I was talking about earlier, just to show you how you can use Power Apps and elements of the Power Platform to kind of extend upon what you're seeing here in Planner. So switching gears, now what you're looking at is our Accelerator Plus Power App built by Wellington. I want to show you a couple things. This is the home page right here. So something I also really want to focus on is my metrics. So if you're in this Power App as an end user, this My Metrics section will be geared towards you. So you're able to see all of your assignments, so all of your tasks. And then beyond that, if you're capturing risks, actions, issues, changes, all that good stuff, you're able to see if you are the owner of any of those items as well. So kind of takes it that one step further. Not only can you see your tasks, but you can see all other areas where you're assigned or, deemed the owner of a specific thing. So if I open up this left-hand side menu, you can see there's quite a few options over here. The first being pipeline. So I'll show you a little bit of pipeline. Pipeline is essentially where you can come in, input new project ideas, project requests, take them through a review and prioritization process, and then decide which projects maybe are the most meaningful to move forward with. And you can, convert them into projects from there. So this is what our pipeline looks like. So we can capture, general information about the project. We can link it into programs and portfolios. So again, you can see kind of how we're taking this to the next level with Power Apps. Here we're able to build a business case around this request, so input some information about that. And then down at the bottom, we have a prioritization section. So you can see we have some sections called attractiveness and achievability. And then we can basically rank this request based on certain criteria. And then the system kind of calculates a prioritization score. So I can see amongst all of my requests how they were each scored in terms of priority. And hopefully that will help me make a more educated decision on what projects I want to move forward with as an organization. So that's pipeline. Going into projects, the first thing I want to show you is actually how all of this comes together. So I just demoed Planner. I'm now in Power Apps. And within Power Apps, I'm now in a specific project, and I'm looking at the tasks for that project. And once this loads, I think you'll notice looks pretty familiar. So this is essentially the grid view that we were just looking at in Planner. It's now a part of Power Apps, part of the overall project. So we can see all of our tasks. We can see all that information we were capturing in Planner. It's now embedded in the Power App, and we have all of these other things kind of built around it. So that's how these two kind of connect, and that hopefully helps you understand a little bit more how Power Apps can help extend what I just demoed in Planner. Here at the top, you can see we have a business process flow where we have stage gates for our project. So definition, feasibility study, planning, etc. So these represent all the different stages. And then within those, we have checklists that need to be completed. So, obviously we need a project proposal. We need to outline our business case. We need to make sure we identify our benefits. So we can make sure all of that's done before we're able to move into the next stage successfully. So that just is a so quick little intro into Power Apps, but hopefully you can see how we can use Power Apps to extend the capabilities of Planner. And then really quick, before I turn it back over to Nick, this is Power BI. So I showed you a really quick little intro into charts and reporting in Planner, but this is a much more robust Power BI report pack. So we have a lot of different dashboards in here, and I'll just show you a couple, but this is pulling in data from that Power App that we were just looking at. So portfolio health, for example. Let's see when this loads up. So down at the bottom, we can see all of the projects in our portfolio. And then as we're, capturing status against all those projects, we can see as a whole up here how we're kind of tracking amongst our entire portfolio, where we're at, red, amber, green. So that's portfolio health. And then something else, the last one I'll share, and there's a lot here, but this is our highlight report. So this is something that's, pretty common within organizations. You obviously want to capture a status report or a highlight report to share with your stakeholders, to share with, executives, things like that. So we can come in here, we can select a project, and then this whole report is now filtered and geared towards that specific project. So you can see progress up here as a whole. You can see, what the status is of this project. You can see some cost information as well. You can see more information from the status report, like what we've accomplished, what we plan to accomplish, and how we're going to get this project back on track. And we can also see a list of risks, issues, and upcoming milestones. So kind of like it's called a highlight of your project to show in a really nice visual way where you're currently at. So this is Power BI, obviously a lot more I could showcase here, but I will stop for now and we can head back into the rest of the presentation.
Nicole, is that a handover, or did you both have something else?
We have, I'm going back to my slide deck really quick. We just have some contact information that I could share, but I can also just put it in the chat. I know we only have a few minutes. So do we want to do some questions, wrap
Sure.
up?
Yeah, we can open it up. If anybody has any questions, they're welcome to share it in the chat or off mute at this point. We have a couple minutes. We can take some questions.
Yeah, so I noticed, I think, Nick, you put in about AI, which is always going to be the first question that we get asked about these days, artificial intelligence. And how close are we to the, Terminator Skynet situation where we don't have jobs anymore? So we have done some research in this with some clients, and we do actually have some reading material on how AI can help us in our project management journey versus if we look and search for, artificial intelligence, the kind of the nightmare scenarios that we'll find online. So yeah, we have found, you've seen some very simplistic AI kind of can build plans that can, look at reporting and analyze data. So like I said, we have done some research with a client of ours. They did a complete test of AI in the world of their project management and came up with kind of a number of different areas where they felt AI would be particularly useful, and then other areas where it would not be particularly useful. So some of the positives of AI, analyzing data very quickly. So one of the key things with projects is that there's lots of data knocking about, and it's very tempting nowadays to collect as much data as possible. So analyzing that data and kind of being able to pull out information, errors and things like that is one of the key ways that they found it just saved a lot of human interaction. And then the humans can focus on the insights of that data rather than just collating and cleaning. In terms of creating templates and ways of working, so being able to not have to start from zero, being able to start from this is what best practice says, and then being able to tailor it to our reality is another quick time saver. Meeting minutes, summaries, actions, so really making sure that we're not having to do lots of administrative work, transcripts, that kind of thing, so we can very quickly share the output from meetings as opposed to having to type everything up nice and neatly. And also communication, so giving people the ability who maybe are relatively new, writing articles and updates and standard operating procedures and things. So being able to, again, start from not a zero starting position is a real time saver for people. And also from an individual's development perspective, if they don't, building confidence in writing is really important, because we've talked about communication being so important. So there are some key areas that they found it was really helpful. There are also some key areas where they kind of have made a point of saying, don't use it for this. And the biggest one is decision making. So do not assume that artificial intelligence knows the answer, because AI is still learning. It's learning from the information we tell it. So a real reminder that if you're going to use AI to start writing things and then share that, is you as the human are still responsible for the correctness of that information being shared. You're still accountable for having shared that information. So making sure that we're not asking AI to make decisions, but rather make us informed. And then the humans take the decision forward, or take that information and tweak it. And you'll see that with lots of articles where people have used AI, and then at the bottom they kind of put, and then this is the human perspective, so that AI can continually learn. There are some hazard warnings in organizations looking to embed this, and public sector organizations might take longer to do some of this, but making sure that we have all our data in one place is fundamental, otherwise it won't work. Making sure that we have an AI strategy, policies as to what should and shouldn't we use it for is going to be super important moving forward, just from a completeness, confidentiality and safeguarding our projects. So they were very much on do the prep, exactly what I said earlier, spend that time in planning if you're going to implement some kind of AI, so that you understand what should it be used for and what shouldn't it be used for. And then provide some education. Don't assume that everybody is tech savvy and that they can pick it up. So that's our most common question when we do anything like this at the moment is AI. So hopefully that gives you an insight.
Absolutely, Emma. I appreciate that context and keeping the human element in mind as we factor in all the the technology as it's evolving very quickly. So it does look like we're up on time. I do want to thank you again, Emma and Nicole, for your time today, supporting our community. For those of you that attended, appreciate your time. If anything comes up, there's some links in the chat to reach out on LinkedIn. Any questions? I know I'm going to process some things, and then I'll probably blow Nicole up later with some thoughts or questions. But again,
Please
thank
do.
you, thank you again
Thanks for having us.
for your time. Appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.